So the other night I farmed a bunch of fell taradiddles because I was very curious to see how some of these new draw time perks for the new bows would end up playing out, and I wanted to see how low we could get the draw time to be. Now I will only be doing the testing on the fell taradiddle because I do not have the 3 red borders for the Under Your Skin, the void bow, nor do I have a good roll to test it with, like with Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up. Now if you guys need some background on how bows are actually working, there is an amazing Reddit post that breaks down all of the different bow perks and how they work on the different frames of bows, so I'll have a link to that Reddit post down in the description. But otherwise, as I was crafting this bow, I had tested it and recorded it as its base version with its normal draw time, and then with just the attachment changes, and then I threw on like Archer's Tempo, Successful Warm-Up. I also tested out Cornered, but the main 2 that we're going to be looking at is Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up, and how they change between their normal perk variants and their enhanced variants. So the attachments that I'm running on this is a draw time masterwork and then the polymer string. There's no point in using elastic because we're going to hit that floor of the 540 draw time without it, so there's no point in losing that accuracy, which is very important for our lightweight frames. And then otherwise, fiberglass arrow shaft. Then if you guys want to get super crazy on actual fire speed, you could put on the compact arrow shaft to increase your reload speed, but you're going to lose a lot of accuracy. It's kind of up to you how you want to be using your bow, but in my case I'm using the fiberglass arrow shaft. So let's go ahead and start getting into our draw times. Now for all of these, I counted the number of frames it took to draw it back. Now this won't match exactly what you see in the milliseconds here on the draw time because I am limited to 60 frames, but nonetheless you guys can see the difference in frames as we go through the different combinations. So taking a look at the base taradiddle with absolutely nothing affecting our draw time, it took 36 frames to completely draw it back. Now with just changing the masterwork to the draw time and the polymer string and the fiberglass arrow shaft, we were able to get our draw time down to 32 frames. And then from there I went ahead and equipped the base version of Archer's Tempo, and with that I was able to get my number of frames on the draw time down to 24. Now I did want to compare the normal archers to enhanced archers to see if it was worth your time. Now the enhanced Archer's Tempo actually gives you an extra second for when you hit that precision shot to keep chaining them, so that part is really nice. But in terms of the number of frames, it actually stayed the same at 24. Now like I said, we are limited to the 60 frames, so there could be a ever so slight actual real world draw time difference between the 2, but in practicality there's really not much of a difference at all. So in my opinion, Archer's Tempo as the enhanced trait really isn't that worth it. Like I said, it really only gives you an extra second for really no draw time bonus. Now for the combination that I really was curious about was the Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up. Now I did keep enhanced Archer's Tempo on my bow just because I did not want to just waste that Ascendant Alloy, but I did use the base version of Successful Warm-Up first, and from there I was able to get a draw time of 16 frames. And then something else to note about Successful Warm-Up, as you guys get kills, you will actually be stacking the timer that you are given with it. So once you get the first kill, you are given a few seconds. Then every subsequent kill after that will keep adding to that up to 20 seconds. So this is actually really, really good for endgame content. If you go ahead and kill all the miners and then say you're focusing on like a barrier champion this season with anti-barrier bow, this is gonna be really helpful for taking down their shield quicker. Now before moving over to Successful Warm-Up enhanced version, I did want to test out Cornered, as that is another draw time perk that we can have on this weapon. Now this was not really my favorite perk on here. It actually was slower than Successful Warm-Up. It was at a draw time of 21 frames, and also you have to be really close to enemies, and in content where you're using bows, usually you're going to be sitting at a distance, so most of the time this wouldn't be active for you anyways, so I would personally skip Cornered on this weapon for PvE. Now the final combination I wanted to give a go was enhanced Archer's Tempo and enhanced Successful Warm-Up. Now there was actually no draw time change between the both enhanced and then enhanced archers and normal Successful Warm-Up. It was still at a draw time of 16 frames. But here on the screen I'm going to have my little spreadsheet of all the different variants of the taradiddle that I was using and the number of frames each draw time took. But as you guys can see, using the base taradiddle down to using the absolute max out with Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up, you guys can see that we are dropping the draw time in over a half, which is pretty crazy, and in my opinion is going to be one of the best variants you can use. Now, if you guys still want to use explosive head instead of successful warm-up, you can. I really like just shooting this thing as fast as possible. It's really helpful for barriers. As I've noticed this season, a lot of the times they will actually go through their whole bubble phase, at least in really high-end content where you're under leveled. It is pretty tough to break their barrier by yourself with a slow draw time. Yeah, I just want to show you exactly how these different new perks were stacking with each other and how low you could get the draw time on some of these bows. Personally, I think the Fell Taradiddle and the Under Your Skin, the Void Bow from Battlegrounds, are your two best bets in terms of bows from this point on. But make sure you guys go farm those red borders so you can actually make these god rolled versions. Yeah, hopefully you found the video informative. If you did, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We got a bunch more content here on the way. But anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.